For this generation, we need your heart, your heart. We need your heart, the heart of the ideal servant.
And Rahab had a house. These two men, they were dealing with her. And they came into an agreement to save her life and her family from destruction. Joshua didn't come do it. But they could do that because they had been sent. They walked in this authority. We got folks that have went and not sent. And they're getting their head whipped because they get there without authority. Just because somebody can preach don't mean they got authority. The devil can preach. He's convincing. He's so convincing that he convinced a third of the angels to follow him. So we're not dealing with a dumb fallen angel. When we understand this, you're not an adversary if you're dumb and stupid, don't know nothing. No. This is an adversary. He knows how to come at you, and the way he come at you, he's going to mess with your head. Is that really what God meant? I ain't never thought of that before. Now he got you leaning. So there are no solo acts. You got to be sent. Here's the third thing he requires. You got to fervently seek his presence. Fervently seek his presence. I didn't just say seek his presence. Fervent. Where is your passion? Hello? You got a passion for something. Where is it? What's your passion where the Lord's concerned? If spending time with him is not the most pleasurable thing and most desired thing in your life, you're out of order. No, you're out of order. And that means you will march to some other orders and call them his. And then it'll end up in what they call it, friendly fire. What's friendly fire? You did what? Accidentally shoot your ally. Oh. And usually that's from wrong instructions, isn't it? Huh? Out of order. See, we've not seen ourselves as an army. We've seen ourselves as churchgoers. I'm a member of the church. A member. If that's the case, we just need to get some cards so we can all have membership cards. It's not a put down. It means we got to shift our thinking. And that's part of the reforming. We got to reshape how we think. Because the Lord is the Lord of hosts, Lord of battles, Lord Sabaoth. Then there's a fight coming. Am I making sense here? We got to fervently seek his presence. Look at chapter 3. Oh, chapter 3 and verse 2. They're getting ready to cross over the Jordan River. Verse 2 says, so it was after 3 days that the officers went through the camp, and they commanded the people, saying, when you see the ark of the covenant of the Lord, that's his presence, and the priests and the Levites bearing it, then you shall set out from your place and go after it. Look for the presence of the Lord. You got to fervently seek the presence of the Lord. And here's another one that goes with that. Learn to associate with people that carry his presence. Because whoever you associate with, that's the influence on your life. If they don't carry the presence of the Lord, whose presence are they carrying? Hello? I know y'all wanted to jump and shout and run because it's the last Sunday. No, I want you to get ready. The church has been programmed to look for blessings. I'm talking about stuff. And we don't seek after the King. We seek after him. You'll find that in his presence are pleasures forevermore. Here's the next one. In chapter 3 and verse 4, just back up a little bit. They said, when you see the priest and all that bearing the presence of God, go after it. Yet there should be a space between you and it, about 2,000 cubits. Do not come near it, that you may know the way by which you must go. In other words, reverence or walk in the fear of the Lord where his presence is concerned. We're too loosey-goosey. We treat the Lord like he's one of the fellas. Which means that when he gives a command, I don't feel like that. So it's pick and choose. It's quiet in this sanctified church now. That you may know the way by which you must go for this reason. For you have not passed this way before. When we understand that we haven't been this way before, you start walking with reverence. There's too much irreverence in the church. Pastor Sheryl and I went to a church one time to visit. Now, they don't know us. Big old church, great big church. And prior to service, folks were laughing and talking. You thought they were getting ready to go see a show. Laughing and talking. What y'all, oh girl, what y'all cooking tomorrow? We're going to do some iguana. All kind of stuff. We're going to be grilling and they laughing and talking. It's just all kind of, and it's like, is this the house of God? Is this the place where the presence of God is supposed to be? And we were sitting there, and it grieved. It felt like somebody put their nails on a chalkboard and just scratch it. And then when it was time for service to start, somebody come out. Come on, let's praise God. Come on and give him glory. Come on. And it's like you're trying to pump up the crowd. And they got a hole in the balloon. And that's where everybody was. And it's like grieving. It's like, Lord, what is this? He said, no reverence. How many of you would like it if you came to talk to someone and you got answers for them and you're giving it to them and they ain't paying you no attention? And then they turn around, what'd you say? You'll stop. Well, how do you think the Lord feels? You don't want to hear nothing I got to say. You're not even interested in me. So if he gets no reverence at the place where he's supposed to be reverenced, and he leaves, who's getting the reverence? If we won't walk in the presence of the Lord, we won't seek after the Lord. I'm talking about Pastor Sheryl and I. But we in here doing all this other stuff. What are we turning loose on you? What are we exposing you to? Joshua chapter 3, verse 5. The thing he's requiring of you is a corporate consecration. See, that's what we lose, folks. I don't want to be consecrated. I like to keep my options open. Granted, a lot of people in January, make those New Year resolutions. And we say we're going to do this and do that. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to really lose weight. We saw the stroll coming before Thanksgiving. But I'm going to press on. I'm going to make it through Thanksgiving. I know I don't need to eat that turkey and dressing and those pies and cakes, but I'm going to press on anyhow. And then Christmas. As soon as I get that out of my system, right after we put up all the stuff, then Christmas going to be over with. And then it's, Lord, I need you to help me to lose weight. I'm going to be consecrated. Look at verse 5. And Joshua said to the people, this is chapter 3. Joshua said to the people, sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. This is one of the things I was really wanting to get to. If we will follow what he requires of us, he's ready to do supernatural things in your midst. No, your midst. Not when Pastor Craig and Pastor Sheryl preach. Everywhere you go, something supernatural starts taking place because you are consecrated. You've decided, Lord, I'm your soldier. This is where you assign me. This is where I walk. And my walk is me on my face before you. Whatever you require, whatever you say. The other thing is this. I like this. This one got me. I almost cried. In chapter 5, chapter 5, he tells them to God told him, he said, circumcise the people. Now, folks that were born in the wilderness had never been circumcised. They good and grown. Good and grown. Brothers, look at me. All the brothers. Sisters, y'all don't understand none of this. Y'all just sit there and, take the little smile off your face. All of y'all are grown. All the grown men. Some man comes to you and says, God has placed me in charge and he told me to circumcise you. I'm going to go on this side. You like him because he in charge. You know him. He walked with God. But he said, God said, circumcise all of the brothers. I don't know why y'all be laughing at me these days. Think about that. That's a serious order. God said all the ones who were born in the wilderness, they're out of covenant. And we can't move forward with some having been circumcised and others who haven't. Can I tell y'all something? When he said, you've never been this way before, he was talking to Joshua too. Joshua was born in Egypt. He was born under slavery. Something to think about. So they couldn't move forward because everybody wasn't in covenant. And the Lord said, you can't go forward. You can't go into this new season, Joshua, of possessing the promised land because everybody ain't in covenant. And the sign of the covenant was circumcision. Circumcise the foreskin of your heart. And when it happens, you don't jump up and say, okay, I'm ready to go. You got to be healed. Them brothers had to sit down. Told their wife, don't come over here. Don't hold my hand. Don't wink at me. Don't say good morning. Ain't the Lord. All right. No. See, we don't stop to read the scriptures to find out how serious things are. We just take stuff for granted and go on, and we're getting our heads whipped. The devil's standing there weaving. Bam, bam, bam. And we crying, oh Lord, oh Lord. And we're losing. Because if the devil gets the upper hand, he's got a right to take everything you got. And he hates you, he's going to do it with a vengeance. So he said they need to circumcise their heart. Here's why. They were operating under generational curses of rebellion, stubbornness, disobedience, and impurity. If we don't let the Lord circumcise our heart, we will be operating in this stuff and don't know it. When you refuse to do something, you dig your heel in. That's stubbornness. And Samuel had to tell Saul what stubbornness was. He said, it is as idolatry. You're the God, not Almighty God. You worship you. We're talking about reform. This ain't no Sunday school class. This is a challenge to soldiers. Say, I'm a soldier. And this is what got me. In chapter 5, verse 8. So it was when they had finished circumcising all the people that they stayed in their place. You know what to get you in your place? When your heart's circumcised. When the heart ain't circumcised, I don't want to be over here. We're going to dance. When your heart's circumcised, you stay. It's just like the little dog say, stay. I don't want to, but I'm under orders. When the heart's not circumcised, you can't hear. You might want to write that down. When the heart got circumcised, verse 9, God told Joshua, this day I have rolled away the reproach of Egypt from you. All the shame and all the junk that comes with it. And then verse 11 says, and they ate of the produce of the land on the day after the Passover. Unleavened bread and parched grain on the very same day. Then the manna ceased on the day after they had eaten the produce of the land. 40 years manna, and then suddenly God says, I'm changing your diet. That's one of the things he's requiring. He told me. And when he told me that, I knew this is going to be tough. He says, I'm changing your diet. He said, naturally and spiritually. So you're going to have to stop and look at, what have I been eating spiritually? He says, I'm going to change your diet. If they had been eating manna for 40 years, manna was a taste of honey, a taste of what God had promised. Now they're in the promised land, and they got the full measure of honey. One day they had both. The next day, what they had for 40 years, a 40-year diet ended. And a brand new diet started. Your body can't take changes like that unless order has come to you and something supernatural is going on in the transition. And that's what he's talking about. When order comes, his order comes, everything about your life going to be supernatural. Instead of the company folding because things aren't working, when you open your mouth, life is released to it. Are y'all hearing me? So I want you to take this. This had to be sober. This had to be sober. Then there was one frustration after another coming at me today. And I knew so that this won't come out. Pastor Sheryl and I, our part in this new season is to push you. But it's time for you to do what you do. Yeah. And so the Lord's saying, I'm bringing order, reforming you. Quality control. Quality control. Excellence. Y'all know when you buy those clothes and they say inspected by number 8, that's a quality control person. They're missing in the house of God. But you the preacher, you the pastor, you're supposed to make sure this and that. No. Just like Pastor Sheryl said, she don't have grace to be doing all this and that Elder Roz had been doing. She has the grace, not her. Her grace is for something else. What are you graced for? What are you graced for? And what are you doing with it? You got to get in order so he can turn it loose. Now, y'all can stand up, but I want you an example. You have to ask the Lord and seek him. What do I do with this? What do you require of me where this is concerned? And he'll start showing you. And you'll be like, that's where it fits. That's how this goes. And you come and submit it. Y'all receive this? Yes, sir. Boy, some of y'all got the look on your face like, boy, he just let all the air out of me. No. The prophetic word that the Lord spoke to us during the anniversary, part of it was the devil is trying to knock the wind out of you. And the Spirit of God told me to tell you this. I was praying this morning, and he said, let them know that's the strategy of the enemy. That's what's been against you all this year, is to knock the wind out of you. It's been one little thing after another. If you ever had the wind knocked out of you, you can't talk. You're gasping. You're desperate. Fear grips you. It's a strategy of the devil. Because if you have the breath of God in you, you are a lethal agent of the kingdom. Schools are not going to change because some parent ran up in the school and demanded change. Schools are going to be turned around because the young people who are born again and filled with the Spirit of God are in it. They turn it around. It's you. It's you. I hope y'all hear my heart. It's you. God told them about the promised land over and over and over and over. Kept reminding them, They're in the wilderness. We've been wandering for 40 years. And God said, you're going into the promised land. It's a land flowing with milk and honey. You're going into the promised land. It's a land flowing with milk and honey. He made a promise. The first group didn't believe him. So everybody had to wait. But then the time came. It's time to go in. What you've been waiting on, the generations before knew about it, and stuff has happened, and they didn't get in, and here you are. It's time to go in. How bad do you want to go? How bad do you want to go? The little hiccups in your marriage, that ain't the problem. The problem is you might discover what your purpose is and you'll fulfill it. That's territory that the devil's occupying that belongs to God, and you took it back.
Thank you for joining us for The Heart of a Servant, an outreach ministry of Canaan Christian Center in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. If you are in the Pine Bluff area, we'd love for you to join us on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. for our United Prayer on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. and for our midweek service on Wednesday night at 7. We would also like to give a special thank you to all of our covenant partners. If you are interested in becoming a covenant partner, please visit our website or send us an email. We are Canaan Christian Center, praying that you have the heart of the ideal servant.